So this is our little take. This is what we've been using quite a lot on our syndicate down in Devon, especially for casting at showing fish in the winter, is our version of the naked chod. So the way we use it is a braided section below a swivel with the lead. Now, two reasons for that. We just find if that plugs into the silt a little bit, you know, even with the chod, it just gives us that little bit extra security so it can pop up, as you'll see in a minute. Another thing, we hear a lot of people losing fish on chods because of the proximity of the lead to the sort of the fishes, you know, where the hook is and stuff, and it bumps fish off. Now, we're not keen on dropping leads unless we have to. So we find this, when the fish is hooked, the lead sits far enough away
so you haven't got that
so they haven't got the ability to swing the hook out of the mouth. So that's the basis on that. That goes straight up to sort of a safety bead, which can just pop off anytime, which is really handy. So big thing we've been doing with our baits this year as well is coating them. So as you can see there, using some of the sort of liquid, the gravy, and just give them a real good shake up, and then coat them in Amino Blast and almost building them up to sort of a cultured sort of style. So they end up looking a little bit like that.
And the longer you can do it for, the better.
Yeah, I mean,
takes the liquids on. Don't seem to have any problem with the pop-up losing its buoyancy or anything like that by adding it on.
They will sit a little bit heavy sometimes at the beginning, but as this sort of comes off, you know, over an hour or so, they pop up.
And what you're left with at the end, when it's popped up, is just a little halo of attraction in the silt of the powders and the liquids and stuff that have oozed off, and we're just finding that's enough to sit in the silt and bring on a bite in the winter when we're not wanting to put much bait in. So again, it's just, you know, whatever matching liquids you want to use. We're finding the Amino Blast liquid's a game changer, and combining that with the Amino Blast powder again, and just keep building it up over a couple of weeks. Put a bit of liquid on, put a bit of powder on, give it a shake, and then repeat the process. And then the next part to it is,
before that goes out, which that one in it?
Yeah, getting nice and messy with it.
Yeah. So all of it, the whole lot, goes in. Give it a real good shake. Does get a little bit
messy.
Don't do it in your bivvy. Look at it. It's easier when it's attached to a rod. So when that goes out, now some of it will come off when it hits the water, obviously. So what I mean about how it sits quite low to start with. Just give that a little bit of time and it just pops up. And you can see all the extra attraction, you know, that's going to be going into the substrate you're fishing over.
Just another bonus with that boom section as well. It's an extra carrier for that attraction. It helps to get in there. You can see it all oozing off.
You know, and a lot of it's hitting the surface, dropping back down again. So you can see this should start to lift now as it all comes off.
I think that's just the liquid that we put on there, isn't it?
You see how much attraction, extra sort of scent and stuff that's coming into the water over time.
Tried this in buckets and stuff as well. Obviously, the warmer the water is, the quicker that's going to leak off the stuff that we've just put on. And again, it will just sit up nicely, and you've just left with all that attraction in the silt.
So yeah, so if we give, because we haven't got the luxury of time,
give it a little wipe.
There we go. But yeah, we've had some real good hits on him, you know, and anybody else is not catching, you know. Naked chod fish you can cast anywhere. You know, you see anything that remotely resembles a sign of a fish, that goes at it, and it's worked. So
the catch rates as well, as in dropping fish, touch wood, lots of it. We've not dropped one on this rig either.
Not dropped one on naked chod.
With the chod.
Not lost one lead. You know, not lost one fish. So a lot better. Saves you money on lead. Better for the environment, I suppose. But I will say that stuff has been a real game changer, the Amino Blast powder. Now we're using this pretty much every time we're casting a rig out into the lake.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Takes a bit of time, but
Yeah,
definitely the results have shown that it works.
so that's that one. Now we use this a lot over the winter, as I said, but when it comes to, you know, sort of spring, summer, when they're really starting to get hungry, get their heads down, we've been taking it a sort of step further, and we go over to the Iconic. You've got one of the leads. So what we do with our leads on this is a basic lead clip, you know, sort of blowback rig, liner style.
Normally on the water we fish, they don't allow you to dump leads. We don't really need to do it anyway on there, but this would be a stone, but I did forget the pot of stones this morning. So I've, in my bucket, always got a pot of the Amino Blast with stones soaking up the liquid again, because they'll seep out. It's a bit more porous using the stone than lead, but for purposes of this, we'll show you with the lead.
You can get that out.
Thank you. Always get the nice jobs.
I'll hold your lead clip open.
Okay.
So that goes on there. Into there like that. Now again, you can see that's just, you know, coated all the way through. A whole lot goes into it.
Summertime, we found after spawning, we switched from the Supreme, which is our sort of winter go-to, to the Iconic. And we've just found after spawning, they just seem to crave it. They absolutely love it after spawning. And what we'll do for a liquid dip is normally I go to I think you're on the liver as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
With the Iconic, the liver liquid, again, it's just game changer.
So again, you can see how much, you know, added attraction that is going to bring to it. And when that goes in, I won't chuck that into because it's 4 ounce lead. But, you know, that sits nice and flush.
Again, adding all that extra attraction into the silt. And to go with that in the summer, making them by hand or using the ball maker at the minute. And it's just the Eclipse Amino Blast powder, using tons and tons of that stuff with any of the sort of Eclipse ground baits, whatever you can match it or mix them, whatever you want.
Use a crusher or whatever. Crush up some bait.
In there, making a ball. That one's falling apart a little bit.
So you can, they're quite easy to make. We've got the small Nashi one.
And again, I know a couple of the other anglers, I know Chris does the same sometimes. If you grind up a pop-up or whatever, pop it in, it helps just bring everything up in that water column. And then drops it down, some of it suspends for a while. The liquid's brilliant because they're nice and soluble, so that will spread a bit as well.
Just again, that little bit, you know, everyone's chucking just round balls, but just think about it a little bit.
And the beauty with that is on our syndicate, we've got, where we use it at the minute, there's a lot of big roach, big rudd and stuff like that. So if you put in crumb and stuff in, a lot of the time it just disappears within minutes. With that, because it's quite heavily scented as well, the idea is we don't want loads and loads of bits out there. It's just leaving that scent in the silt, and they come across the hook bait as well, which is matching, and it just brings on those bites. So perfect for the use of, like, you know, fishing tight to islands is a big one for us, all the margins. And this just seems to work really well. The fish are actively going round and round the islands, and they'll come across this. There's not a lot for them to fill up on, and yeah, they just have a go. You
know, we got a lot of silverfish in our that's dried out a bit much now. Got a lot of silverfish in our syndicates. You know, they're going to be attacking that the whole time. You know, every time they touch it, look at the added attraction. You know, it's clouding up, and for us, that's just going to settle in that silt. You know. And if silverfish are feeding there, for me, carp are going to.
If it's good enough for the roach, it's good enough for the carp.
Yeah. So it's clouding the whole time, just leaving that scent. You know, so the gravy's really good, the powders really good. They work really well together. You know, just getting that extra bit. Really sort of think about how you're going to get them fish to drop down on the bait. You know, so that's a winner for us.
Yeah, and that's sort of our go-to rigs right through the season, isn't it, really? Chods.
I haven't used anything else, you know. Like I said, out in the pond, if I think they're on that, I'll use the naked chod. If I'm in the margins, up against tight to islands, we'll swap over to this one.
Just about maximising the attraction.
Yeah, you know, we've been here for a couple of minutes, just a couple of rigs and a ball. Look how much scent.
I don't know if they can see that with the cameras, but just along the line of the rig as well, all that extra stuff that's come off the rig.
Yeah, and we've made a mess of the tank.
And that's all our secrets.
Yeah, that's it.